Hi guys, Krista Hill here with week two's discussion board. The topic I picked for this week is that of the Dakota Access Pipeline. For those of you that are not familiar, it is a pipeline built to transfer crude oil from North Dakota to Illinois. So, the part that I wanted to talk about is specifically how the protesters were dealt with in this particular situation. So, just to kind of give you some backstory, the pipeline runs through, the middle of nowhere effectively. And the middle of nowhere happens to also be where our lovely government gave the Sioux Nation their land. So the Sioux Nation is very near to where the pipeline is going through. And in the beginning, it was just slated to go through. So the Sioux tribe began effectively trying to halt production. So they went through the legal system and tried everything they could to get the pipeline to redirect. They tried to get the pipeline to stop. They tried all of these methods to halt production and to get it to change, go somewhere else, all these things. So as that failed, they started protesting. So it started off very basic. They were basically just assimilating and having a sit-in. They would dance, they would do some of their prayers, not harming anything, not doing anything, out of the ordinary. So the local police force would come out and just kind of stand around, make sure they weren't doing anything, these kinds of things. Well, the media picked up on it. So the media starts broadcasting, that these guys are out there, that the oil industry is basically trying to take their lands, all these things. And so the way that it used to work is you would go and lobby for, a congressman or a politician to kind of view your side. Well, to effectively lobby for anything, you need mass amounts of money. So one thing that environmental activists do not have is mass amounts of money. And the one thing that the oil industry does have is mass amounts of money. So as these lobbying, techniques that normally would work aren't working, the legal system has not slowed the production down. These environmental activists start seeing these guys from the Sioux Nation that are hanging out, getting this media coverage, all these things. So the environmental activists decide, you know what, we're going to go. So they all head out. Everybody's protesting. It starts to become an emotional thing. The mob mentality starts to kick in. So then they start defacing things. They start destroying, Energy Transfer Partners' property. It starts to be something that the local police just really can't combat. So hundreds of people are arrested, all these things start happening. So I feel like when the tides turned was that when they started defacing the equipment, the actual pipeline itself, and doing these things. So what Energy Transfer Partners did as kind of like a rebuttal to that was they got together a group of ex-special forces and basically said, hey guys, there are some religious extremists out here comparable to jihadists that are stopping our, oil production. So can you go deal with them? So these guys show up in Standing Rock, machine guns, the mentality that they're entering into a zone comparable to what they had seen in the Middle East during their tours of duty. So these guys just start kind of beating the heck out of people. And so, the Sioux tribe is like, holy cow, this is not the way that it was supposed to go. So I feel like this is one of those conversations where, where exactly is that ethical line? Is it the fact that, we are willing to sell, basic human needs like water, like the safety of our water, for money? Basically, you're giving away these people's lands and water supply for the oil industry. So the question is that the issue, or was these guys coming in ex-military beating these protesters up? So I think there are several conversations that we could take from here. So I'd love to hear your thoughts, and if you have any questions, just let me know. Thanks.